Hello everyone, it's Wilson here. Today I want to continue to talk about how to do row reduction, but this one I chose this example because I want to use this example to show how a nice trick to avoid dealing fractions when we're doing row reduction. Okay, so let's get started. So first we are going to write the system into a augmented matrix, right? So let's just first do that. And then you are going to get 5, 4, 6, right? Just copy the coefficient matrix. So we get all this. And then we have the -4, -4, and -1 on the other side, right? So you draw the matrix right here. So that's our augmented matrix. Now, the usual way to do this is to try to get this 1, 1 entry into a 1 by multiplying the first row by 1/5. But you know that if we multiply by 1/5, then you are going to get a 1 here. That's no problem. But then the 4 will turn into a 4/5. The 6 will become a 6/5. And okay, so you got to deal with the fractions in that case. Usually another option that you can try, right, is to think about, okay, so maybe we can look at the other rows and see if we can just reduce that row, and then if we don't run into fraction, then we can use that as the first row by just doing the row interchange, right? But then in this case, that's not really an option because you can see that if you multiply the second row by 1/7, or if you multiply the third row by 1/3, then you are still going to get fractions, right? So now you may say, how do we do it then? We can try to do this. If you just think about this 3 and this 7 right here, or you can do the 3 with the 5, but I prefer to use the 3 and the 7 because if I multiply this by -2, then I'm going to get -6. If I add the -6 to this 7, I'm going to turn it into a 1. See that? Then there is no fraction in that case. So let's try that and then you will see. So we are going to just write down the row operation right here, right, as usual. So we are going to do -2, right, -2, and then the row 3 plus the row 2 and then change the row 2, right? And so we are not changing the row 1, so we're just going to copy it. Okay, what about the row 3? Just copy it also because we're not changing the row 3. And then row 2 is the one that we're going to change, right? So we are going to just leave it blank for now because we're going to do the calculation. So what happened is that we take the 3 times the -2, we get -6. Add the 7, we get 1 here. And see that you can expect what we are going to do in the next step, right? We're going to use this as the pivot. And so now multiply the 7 by the -2, we get -14 plus 10, we get -4. Is that okay? And then -4 times -2 is 8. 8 plus 1 is 9. And then -1 times -2 is 2. 2 minus 4, right? 2 minus 4 is going to be -2. Okay, so now we have this one, and then we can just move it to the top by swapping the row 2 and row 1, right? And then we have the 1 in the 1, 1 entry. So here we are going to get row 1 exchange row 2, right? So we have 1, -4, and 9, then -2 here, and then 5, 4, 6, -4, 3, 7, -4, and -1. Okay. So now the next step is really just to use the 1 to remove the 5 and the 3, right? So we can do that. And then we are going to do what do we have here? So -5, right? Times row 1, and then plus row 2, and then change row 2. So that's what we're doing, right? Turn that into a -5. Multiply that by -5, add to this, then I get a 0 here. So let's do that. So we get, this is the row that we do not change, right? So I'm just going to copy. Then I will just put all that first. Okay, now what do we do? 1 times -5 plus 5, we get 0. So this one actually, we don't need to think too much because we chose our row operation so that we can get the 0 here. So that's -4 times -5. We get 20, 24. So we get the 24 here. And then 9 times -5, that's -45. -45 plus 6 is -39, right? Okay, so -5 times -2 is 10. 10 minus 4. 10 minus 4 is 6. Is that okay? And then now do the same thing for the for the third row, right? So we also want the 3 to become a 0. So we are going to do -3 row 1 plus row 3, change row 3. Then you're going to get 0 here. Okay. Well, actually, let me just use that color. So we have the 0 here. Okay, so now -4 times -3, 12 plus 7, we get 19. Okay, so -3 times 9, -27, minus 4, -31. Is that okay? And then last one, that's 6, right? And then minus 1 is 5. Okay, so now we get to here. And then you can see that there was a 24 here and then there was a 19 here. Doesn't seem to be too nice right here. Then you may say, why is that, right? Why do you say that's not nice? Because our next step is supposed to be what? Turning the 24 into a 1. But then if you do that, if you just multiply the second row by 1 over 24, then you're going to get -39 over 24 and then 6 over 24, which can be reduced, but it's still a fraction, right? And then you need to use that row and then deal with this row. So that's just more trouble in this case. Is that okay? And then you may say, can we just use the same trick that we did at the beginning so that we can just turn something into a 1? The answer is yes. Okay, so you may say, how do we do that? Here's the easy way. Now you can see that the 24 is not really a multiple of the 19, right? It's not an integer multiple of the 19, so that means you cannot multiply 19 by an integer, then you can turn it into a 24. That's not possible. So in that case, what can we do here? We can do something like, what we can do is simply we can just take this and then we can do multiple operations, but so the whole process is like this. So if you just multiply the third row by a -1, then you get -19, and then you add to the 24, then you're going to get the 5 right here. So that in that case, you're going to get a smaller number with the 5 and the 19. And then now if you use the 5, right, and then you multiply it by 4 and then add to the 19, then you are going to just get that. Is that okay? So that's the idea here. So let me show you what's going on with that idea. Or another way is that you can try to find a multiple of 24 and also a multiple of 19, so that when we multiply 24 by whatever number to get to that multiple, and then also multiply 19 by whatever number to get to that the other its multiple, right? If those two multiples they differ by just 1, then you can just get the 1. Is that okay? But right now we can actually simply just, okay, so we can do what I just said at the first time. We can multiply this by -1 and then add to that and see what happens. Okay, so let's try it. So first we are going to use that row operation again by multiplying this by -1 and add to that. So we're going to get -1 row 3, okay, -1 row 3 plus row 2 and then change row 2. Okay, so now I'm not changing this first row here and I'm not changing the last row either. So I'm just going to copy for now. Okay, now what do we do? So we get It's 0 here. That doesn't change. Now, if we negate this 19, we get negative 19 plus the 24, so we get a 5 here. Okay, and then we negate this one, that's 31, right? 31 minus 39, we get negative 8. Is that okay? And then we negate this one, we get negative 5 plus 6, and then that's 1, right? Okay, now do you see what's going on here? What we can do next? I mean, you can just keep doing this back and forth and then the numbers will get smaller, but it's actually faster if we simply just multiply this by negative 4. Is that okay? So if we do that, then if we multiply this by negative 4, let me use a different color right here. So we can do negative 4, okay, negative 4 row 2 plus row 3, and then change row 3, and then you can get what you want. So we copy this row 2 right here. Okay, now do you see what's going on here? Let's see. So 0 times anything is 0, and then add to the 0. We still get the 0 here. Okay, now this one, negative 4 times 5 is negative 20. Negative 20 plus 19, we get negative 1. So see that's a negative 1, right? Even though that's not a 1, but we can always just multiply this row by negative so that we can turn that into a 1. See that? No fractions. So here we are going to get what? Negative 4 times negative 8 is 32. 32 minus 31 is just 1. Negative 4 times 1 is negative 4 plus 5. We also get 1 here. Is that okay? So now we just need to swap the 2 rows and then also change that into a positive 1, right? So we can do that. Just in 2 more row operations. Yeah, it's more row operations, but then you get to avoid the fractions. So you would think about whether that will be worth it, right? So multiply this by negative 1, so we get negative row 3. So you just copy all the other rows right now. So 0, 1, negative 1, and then negative 1. Okay. And then doing the row interchange, right? So row 2, and then row 3, right? So we get 1, negative 4, 9, and then negative 2, and then this is 0, 1, negative 1, negative 1, and then 0, 5, negative 8, and then 1. Okay, so use this one to remove the 5, right? So that we can get it into row echelon form. So just another row operation right here. So what do we get here? Negative 5 row 2, right? Row 2 plus row 3, change row 3. So 1, negative 4, 9, just copy all this. And then what do we get here? Let me see. So we just copy the second row also, yes. 0, 1, negative 1, negative 1. And then this one is going to change, right? The third row is going to change. So what do we get here? We get 0, we get 0, right? Those are 0. This one becomes 0 because we chose our row operation to get that. And then this one is going to be what? Let me see. So we have negative 1 times negative 5, which is 5 minus 8. It's negative 3. Then what do we get here? We are going to get This is like positive 5 plus 1 is 6. And then basically, it's up to you whether you want to do one more row operation to turn this into a 1, right? But we can just do that quickly. So negative 1 over 3 row 3, right? And then you get 0, 0, 1, and then negative 2. And then the other stuff don't change, right? Okay, so now we have the row echelon form, then we can actually just convert it back into system equations and then do the back substitution. Is that okay? So what do we get here? We are going to just get back to the original system, which is x minus 4y plus 9z is equal to negative 2. And then the other one is going to be y minus z is equal to negative 1. And then z is equal to negative 2. And so if you just label those three equations right here, see that the z is already found, right? So all you need to do is to plug the z back in, and then you can get the y right here. So the y is going to be, well, actually, let me just put the equation. So y plus 2, right? Because minus negative 2, so we get y plus 2 is equal to negative 1. And then if you move the 2 over, you get y equals negative 3. And then going back to the first equation, we are going to get, let's see, so we get x minus 4 times negative 3, so plus 12, right? And then plus 9 times negative 2 minus 18 is equal to negative 2. So continue, we get x minus 6 is equal to negative 2. So we can get x is equal to positive 4, right? Because 4 minus 6 is negative 2. So we get 4, negative 3, and then also z equals negative 2. So final answer, right? So final answer is that we have x is equal to 4, and then y is equal to negative 3, and then z is equal to negative 2. So we are finished. Is that okay? Just want to just make a note right here, because even though we're done with the problem, remember when we got to the step, that's the trick that we're using, right? I actually just want to show you that we don't have to like do two row operations. You can actually simply just it's not really an elementary row operation because it's combining two row operations together. But what you can do is something like this. Let me just put a note right here just to show you. So if you just look at this is 24, that's 19, right? What we can do is this. If we write down the multiples, of the 24 and the 19, as I mentioned before, the 24 is the multiplied by 1 is 24, multiplied by 2 is 48, multiplied by 3 is 72, multiplied by 4 is 96, multiplied by 5 is 120, right? And so on, right? And then the other one is going to be what? 19, and then you multiply by 2, you get 38. Multiply by 2, you are going to get, multiply by 3, you get 57. Multiply by, I forgot now, 4, right? You get 76. And then multiply by 5, you get 95. And you see what's going on here? If we look at those two numbers right here, yeah, so if we turn those two into, well, we turn the 24 into the 96, and then we turn the 19 into the 95, then all we need to do is to just perform one row operation, right? And then what do? Just multiply this by the row 3 by negative 1, and then you add to the row 2, and then you get the 1. But you know that that's actually like multiple operations, because you got to multiply the second row by 4, and then also multiply the third row by 5, and then after that we get those numbers, and then we use one more row operation, which is to multiply this by negative 1 and then add to the second row, right? Yeah, but the first two row operations by turning the 24 and the 19 into 96 and 95 respectively are actually just trivial. that okay? So that's the idea here. It's up to you which one that you want to use, right? But it's actually a nice way so that we can avoid dealing with fractions, as you can see. Otherwise, you would just have to deal with the negative 39 over 24. But if you like that, then you can still do that. To help me make math learning available to everyone, please share my videos to others and subscribe my channel. It will give me support to make more videos. Let's work together to help students and children learn math more easily. Thank you for watching this video. I will see you next time.